Hey there, we're going to talk about some of the medicines we've been taking since been on chemo. Diagnosed with colon cancer 2021, so it's going on 3 years here. Probably over 70 chemo treatments, several different drugs. I think I said colon cancer. Spread to the liver, except lymph nodes, stage 4. So I started off with irinotecan, kind of some of the things I experienced with irinotecan, if you're going to have to take it, was mainly it's diarrhea. And for me, it was late stage diarrhea. So what that means is, so I go to treatment every 2 weeks. By the first week, they give you all the medicine that stops the nausea and the diarrhea for the most part. Not really the nausea, but definitely the diarrhea. Second week, probably towards the end of the week, that's when the diarrhea starts. I've had it for like a whole week before. They've given me different medicine that help me control it, but it tends to come back. So that's really was the biggest thing with irinotecan. You do have the nausea. Probably like if I go to treatment on Monday, the nausea is pretty bad. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I take the Zofran, and I got a second pill that I take for second nausea pill. So I take those probably 6 to 8 hours, so a couple times a day, and that helps with the nausea. Moving to the next, we did oxali, which so the irinotecan stopped working. So my CEA, which is my carcinogenic antigen number, went up, which is a good determining factor for my cancer. So when my cancer is growing or getting worse, my CEA number gets higher. That doesn't always work. That's not always the case, depending on the type of cancer you have, but that's worked for me. So the irinotecan is not working anymore. So they've taken me off of that because my CEA is starting to go back up again. They put me back on, which I've been on oxali several times. They put me back on oxali and a new medicine called Erbitux, which you can see by my face. Erbitux's main deal is acne. So I've never really had acne. Even as a high school or teenager, I didn't have acne. Blessed with good skin, I guess. But my hair, all in my hair is pimples, my face. You cannot treat this type of acne like you would treat, acne as a teenager with Accutane and so forth. You have to have an antibiotic. So I have an antibiotic, clindamycin. That's topical that I rub on my face. And then I have the retinol that just dries up the skin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing these words right. There's, I try to, but do my best. So the retinol just dries out the pimples and so forth. Hopefully it seems to be getting better. And the rumor is, and not necessarily true, the nurses at the cancer center always say that if you do get pimples and you do break out, that's a good stage that the chemo is working. So hopefully it's working. The oxali is on there as well. And oxali for a while stopped working as well, and they took me off of that. So now he's got me on 80% oxali with the Erbitux. And it really makes for, every 2 weeks, it really makes for a long day. If you get there at 8 or 9 in the morning, I'm there till 5 or 6. Just the different stages with Erbitux, you got to have Benadryl, and you got to wait 30 minutes to make sure there's not a reaction. The Benadryl makes you sleepy, which is a good sleep. I like to sleep, especially when you're at the cancer center all day. Sometimes it gets boring, and because I'm on my 70th or more treatment, been there, done that. It gets old having to do the same thing every 2 weeks. But that being said, I'm blessed. I'm still here. I'm still getting to be with my family. So the next would be the oxali we've done. Leucovorin, I've kind of been on that quite a bit, and I think that's more of my understanding. It's not a chemo drug. It helps the chemo work better. I don't know a lot about it. One thing that the chemo has done is my short-term memory is not what it used to be. So a lot of the times I have a hard time remembering things. So I apologize for that. So I'm on the Leucovorin. I did the Avastin for a while, which was the same thing. The one thing Avastin did over time was it caused me to have my higher blood pressure. So I went on a little dose, 5 milligrams amlodipine, which seemed to help, but they've taken me off the Avastin. The Avastin, I think, helps the irinotecan work well. So I've been taking off the Avastin. My blood pressure's back in check. I still take the amlodipine, excuse me, just to keep it. I mean, I'm in the 125 to 70 range. So that's fantastic. The other thing I do, and I've always done, and God, I wish they would not let me have to do this, is I have to do a pump. So they put a pump on me on Mondays after I leave the cancer center. So after being there all day, the 5 or 6 hours, they put me on a pump with 5FU, 5 feet under is what they call it. So it's fluorophoracil or something like that is what the name of it is. But I always call most of the people in the industry, you know, they call it 5FU. So I've always done that. I feel like the 5FU, it's supposed to work with the oxalic and the irinotecan and the Erbitux. It's just a secondary medicine. It's a chemo drug it's supposed to help work better. That being said, I would say the main side effect from the 5FU would be nausea, primarily nausea. That's because I've taken it so long. I feel like, you know, you go for the first Monday and you take the irinotecan, the big dogs, or the Erbitux. Well, the Erbitux is causing the pimples and the acne. The irinotecan was causing a lot of the diarrhea. The oxalic, that's the one that you have the cold sensitivity to. And for me, when I would leave, my wife would tease me. It was funny. For the first 30 minutes to an hour, I would slur my words after taking the oxalic, especially at the 100% dose. I don't really do that at the 80% dose. Right now I'm on the 80% dose. And the cold sensitivity, that would be, you know, obviously you drink something cold, ice cream, a cold drink, something with ice. It's pretty painful. It feels like you're swallowing glass. For me, on the 80% dose, I don't really have any cold sensitivity, maybe a little bit, but definitely on the 100% dose, I did have the cold sensitivity. And most of these big drugs, the irinotekins, the oxalics, it feels like they last about 24 hours in your system with the nausea. And then the 5FU that I'm on the pump with, that comes in and that causes the nausea. Which is if I start on a Monday, it's going to last probably till like the Thursday, like I said. And what's crazy is the longer you on these treatments, like it's almost like some of these drugs are causing the same symptoms. Like last week, diarrhea. This week, I would say more constipate. I say this week. Last round of chemo, it was more dealing with diarrhea. This round of chemo, it seems like it's more constipation. So it's tricky. It's tricky to know what the drug is going to do, because I feel like they always cause the nausea. They always cause fatigue. Definitely those two. The diarrhea and the constipation, it's hard to gauge what it's going to cause. So that being said, if you have to take one of these drugs, I can't really tell you. It's definitely going to cause you diarrhea. It's definitely causing constipation. The definites are, it's going to cause you one of the two, most likely. It's most likely going to be a delayed, especially on the diarrhea side. The nausea, like I said, is about the 3 days, 4 days. And the fatigue, you pretty much wiped out for the whole 3 or 4 days. By Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're feeling a little bit better. Energy is better. If I go work in the yard or do some kind of activity like that, then it is definitely, I feel it the next day. I'm more exhausted. So the other thing we do at the cancer center is that my doctor gives me the banana bags, which I do 2 of those now. I do one on the first day of treatment, and when I go do pump down, which is when they take your pump off, and I have a port here, the accessible port, they take all that off. I do the banana bag, fill in vitamins and nutrients. It helps with my electrolytes, my B vitamins. It just makes me feel a little bit better. And I've skipped it a couple times, and you can feel the difference. So that's just important to me that I do that, just to help my body recover from the chemo. So that's So that's pretty much it for the drugs that I've taken. I appreciate you checking us out.